Question number 3 of the exercise asks us to find value of x to make each statement true. This question has so many parts, but we will go one by one. So the very first one, we are given the equation x multiplied by x is equal to 25. First, we rewrite it in exponent form, so it would become x squared is equal to 25. Now to find the value of x, we take the square root on both sides. This helps us to undo the square. So we get x is equal to 5 because the square gets cancelled with the root on both sides, and x gets equal to 5 because we know the square root of 25 is 5. So x is equal to 5. Next we are having the next equation is x multiplied by x multiplied by x is equal to 8. So again we take the cube we write it in the exponent form, which is x cube is equal to 8. Then now to find the value of x, we take the square root on both sides. This will help us again to undo the cube root. So we are going to take cube root on both sides. So the cube root will get cancelled with the cube of the x, and in here the cube root of 8 we know is equal to 2. So this way x is equal to 2. The value of x will be 2. The next equation is x multiplied by x is equal to 121. So we first write it in the exponent form, which will become x squared is equal to 121. Now to find the value of x, we take the square root on both sides. This helps us to undo the square, and we will get x is equal to 11. We know that the square of the square root value of 121 is 11. So when the square gets cancelled with the root, we get x is equal to 11. Next equation is x multiplied by x multiplied by x is equal to 729. The very first step is that again we write it in exponent form, so it will become x cubed is equal to 729. Next we take, after writing it in the exponent form, we will find the value of x by taking cube root on both sides. So x cube we have in here, and the 729 we can also write it as 9 raised to the power of 3. So when we take the cube root, the cube gets cancelled with the cube root, and we get the value of x is equal to 9. The fifth part is x multiplied by x equal to 324. If we write it in the exponent form, so it would be x squared equal to 324. 324, if you write it in the exponent form, it would be x raised to 18 raised to the power of 2. So both the on both the sides we are having the exponent of 2 in order to get rid of the square. So we apply the square root on both sides. This will get this way the square gets cancelled with the root, and we get the value of x is equal to 18. The sixth part is the same. We have x multiplied by x equal to 400. We write it in the exponent form, then we apply the square root to get rid of the square and get the value of x, which is 20 in here. Seventh part is x multiplied by x multiplied by x is equal to 8,000. So we write it in the exponent form, both hand sides left and right, so we will get x cubed is equal to 20 raised to the power of 3. Then we take cube root on both sides. When the cube root gets cancelled with the cube, we get x is equal to 20. Here is one thing that needs a little bit of correction, and for you to understand that in here, since we have taken a cube root, so in here the power of the root is 3. In here it is the same. So I hope you understand that there is a little difference between the cube root and the square root in their signs. In here again we are having the x multiplied by x is equal to 225. So writing it in the exponent form, we get x squared is equal to 225. 225, if you write it in the exponent form, it would be 15 raised to the power of 2. Now that we are having the power of 2 or the squares on both hand sides, we take square root in order to get rid of the squares. So the square root gets cancelled with the square and we get the value of x is equal to 15. In here again we are having x multiplied by x multiplied by x is equal to 1. So if you write it in the exponent form, it would be x raised to the power of 3 and 1 raised to the power of 3 if we take cube on both sides. So take the cube root on both sides in order to get rid of the cube. The cube gets cancelled with the cube root and we get x is equal to 1. 1, as we know, as many times get multiplied with itself, we get the same. So be it the square root or the cube root, the 1 will always be 1. Then we are having the next part is the square root x is equal to 9. So now in here we are having square root already. X is having the square root. Now in order to get rid of the square root, we get square on both sides. This way the square will get cancelled with x on the right hand side, and on the left hand side when we take square of 9 we get 81. So the value of x is equal to 81. This part, square root of 1 is equal to x. So again we take square on both sides. It will be square root, the square of square root 1, and x, when we take square it will become x square. The square get cancelled with the root, we get 1 is equal to x square. So again now what do is that we take square root again on both sides. This way the square will get cancelled with the root, not only on the left hand side but on the right hand side as well, and we will get rid of the square of the x. So we get x is equal to 1, which is the value of x. So in here again x square root of x is equal to 81. We take square on both hand sides, so the square gets cancelled with the root on the left hand side, and on the right hand side we get 81 square. So 81 squared means 81 is multiplied with itself, and as a result we get 66,561 as the value of x. The m part is the cube root of x, which is equal to 2. So in order to get rid of the cube root, we get cube on both sides. So the cube gets cancelled with the cube root on the left hand side, and on the right hand side we are left with 2 raised to the power of 3. So it means 2 is multiplied with itself 2 times. So it will be 2 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 2, which is equal to 8. So the value of x is equal to 8. This is also a cube root. Cube root of x is equal to 1. So in order to get rid of the cube root, we take cube on both sides. The cube on the left hand side with cube root gets cancelled and we get x. On the right hand side we get 1 raised to the power of 3. So 1 multiplied by 1 multiplied by 1, which is equal to 1. This way we get the value of x, which is equal to 1. The last part of the question, cube root of 64 is equal to x. So we, in order to get rid of the cube root, we take cube on both hand sides. So the cube root will get cancelled with the cube, and on the right hand side we are left with x raised to the power of 3. Now we have 64 on the left hand side, and on the right hand side we have x cubed. Now we have to find the value of x, therefore we have to take cube root on both hand sides once again. This way the cube on the right hand side would get cancelled with the cube root, and since we have applied the cube root on both hand sides this way, we will be left with 4 because the cube of 64 is 4, so they get cancelled. We are left with x is equal to 4, as 4 being the value of x. So I hope this question is clear about the different cube roots, square roots, how to find the value of x. That's all for now. Happy learning!